On Sunday, a Bucs upset win or a Chiefs blowout?
You know what? I would have to say Chiefs blowout because Tampa, if they get complacent, if they get complacent, if they come out and play the way they played, early in the season, they at home, everything is falling into their lap this season, and this is a beautiful time for them. I mean, it's a dream come true season to be playing the Super Bowl in your backyard. So I say that for only those reasons. Only if they come out and they don't take full advantage of what the Kansas City Chiefs are going to present to them. If they're not focused, but they ended the year on the hot streak. And Brandon, anytime you're on the hot streak and then you have a couple-week hiatus, that flame can go out. So if this game was played last week, then I would say, look, the Bucs will have a chance at. I'm not picking a winner or loser right now. I'm just saying, if anything, and answering the question, if it's an upset, it could be because, the Bucs at home, man, they chilling and everything is in their backyard.
Big bro, are you out of your mind? You're a quarterback.
No, smart man.
Think about what Mahomes is facing right now. You're a quarterback. Go back to week 12, Mike, and put yourself in Mahomes' position. You are the quarterback of this team. Week 12, you play. First half, you're playing against man. Lights out. Okay, second half, they start playing zone. They start just relying on the front four. Things got a little different, right? It starts sputtering a little bit for them, just a little bit. And then you go and you turn on the film. Okay, you got that game. You escaped. Now you're watching this team. You're watching all season, but typically we watch the last 4 games. But you had 2 weeks, so you're probably watching more. But the first footage you're going to turn on is the Green Bay game. So what they did in the second half, they carried into the Green Bay game, right? We heard those guys talking about, well, Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers is pretty much the same person, right? You attack them the same way. Yeah. What did they do, Mike? What did they do? They disguised. They rushed forward. Shaq Barrett, JPP, I keep saying it. We've been saying it all week. But those guys been playing lights out. Okay, but Mike, now you're going into this game as the quarterback, and you can't run the ball, Mike. You can't run the ball. So now you got to rely on the pass game, and you got 4 guys that can get home, and you got to figure out what's happening. Where's people dropping? Where's my open man? So this is going to be a struggle for Mahomes. That's why you got to go with the Bucs more likely to win this game, to upset the Chiefs.
Okay, so. Vick's obviously correct with respect to my dear friend and colleague Brandon Marshall, and I'm trying to ramp up the commentary as the day goes on. I was waiting for an ally to join the show. So all-time Chiefs coaching intern great Michael Vick is here, so I'm not the only Chiefs guy here now. So now we can ramp it up fully. All-time intern, the greatest intern in the history of Kansas City sports, Michael Vick. Brandon Marshall, I fear the pendulum has swung too far. The Bucs defense has gone from underrated nationally to all of a sudden this week, we're talking about the front 4 like they're the purple people eaters. They are not that. They are not even as good as the front 4
they looked like it last
Chiefs
week.
faced in last year's Super Bowl. So this idea that all of a sudden the Chiefs aren't going to be able to move the football, I just don't acknowledge that as really a possibility. And Wilds, I'm going to throw it to you, and I'm going to do one of your favorite things, but I'm going to do it in reverse. Because all year long I've had to deal with Kevin Wilds and his perfectly coiffed hair talking about, but what if? What if the Saints had fallen on a fumble? And what if the guy from Atlanta had caught the interception? What if this 14-1 team, they actually were 9-6 if you really think about it. So let's go back to that Tampa Bay game and do a couple what ifs. What if on the opening drive of the game, on 3rd and goal from the 1, instead of having Travis Kelce throw the ball, they just threw it to Kelce and got a touchdown? And what if on the 4th drive of the game, instead of Mahomes being strip sacked inside the 10, they scored a touchdown? And what if in the second half, where the Chiefs were shut down after a 75-yard touchdown drive to start the second half, Mecole Hardman had caught the wide open 90-yard touchdown pass that was thrown to him? Do you know if those 3 things had happened? The score of that game with 20 minutes left would have been 45-10. So we can play the what-if games always negatively to Kansas City, or we can say, you know what? The first time they played, it actually was far more of a blowout than the score indicates. So what's more likely? A Chiefs blowout, because they were this close to blowing them out once already. And the last time the Bucs had the ball with a chance to take the lead in that game was the first quarter. So to me, that's clearly the answer, a Chiefs blowout.
Okay, I'll throw it back to you. Few things. One, the McCole Hardman thing was not McCole Hardman's fault. It was Patrick Mahomes' fault. That was a bad throw, and I know in your contract we can never say anything about Patrick Mahomes, but it was, he said it after the game it was a bad throw. Travis Kelce, you know who was on that play? Oh, Carlton Davis in there batting the ball down. Carlton Davis is going to be all over the field. I told you guys, just because he got lit up for 200 yards in one quarter, no one thinks he's good. It's going to have a big game. Bad. Here's why I think it will be a Bucs upset. What team, Nick, has a reputation for taking their foot off the gas, for getting up early, taking their foot off the gas?
The Chiefs.
Oh, let's relax. Let a team come back. And what team or what player has been down big in the Super Bowl and had a big comeback? Hall of Famer Julian Edelman catching balls 1 inch off the ground. So I think, even though it's the Super Bowl, I think it's a little practice how you play the regular season like the postseason. You guys have taken your foot off the gas the whole time. You might open the door up a little bit for Tom Terrific to come storming back.
Okay, that's a very intriguing thought that the Chiefs will shift into neutral in the Super Bowl, looking ahead, I guess, to the non-existent Pro Bowl the week after. Stay fresh for that. Vic, I got a question for you. Vic, did they seem to take their foot off the gas against the Bills? I watched that game. You and I weren't watching it together, but we were on a Zoom call discussing it together. Did they take their foot off the gas against the Bills?
They didn't. No one ever takes their foot off the gas. This is professional sports, and when it comes down to it in this game, you know what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are gonna have to do? They're gonna have to prove that they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs in all 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. And more likely on defense, they're going to have to stop Patrick Mahomes. And that's what it all is going to boil down to. But they're going to have to prove to us for 4 quarters that this game is going to be different than what we've seen earlier in the season.
Nick, stop going back to the Buffalo game. Please. They didn't have the right personnel. They didn't have the right scheme. They had no chance. That was 7-on-7 out there. That was routes on air. Routes on air, that's one of the first things we do, Vic, when we start practice. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, go to field 2. DBs, you go to field 1. And we literally go out there and run through our offense. And we throw the quick game. Then we go through our curl and our flat game. Then we go down the field. And there's nobody there. It's pitch and catch. There should never be a ball on the ground. And that's what happened because they weren't a smart guy. They weren't a smart defense then. They didn't disguise, and they had nobody can get to the pass rusher. So I'm not saying that the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to stop Mahomes, but what I am saying is they're going to slow him down because they have the personnel and the scheme to get it done. This game is going to be good.
Hey, B. Hey, Brandon.
Go ahead, Vic. Go ahead, Vic.